Welcome to the innovative modalities in cancer treatment.
The 5.9 centimeter mass was gone. I was actually, at this point, I was surprised myself, no? Huh? How can it happen in just a span of 1.5 months? So I asked them, what did your uncle say about this mass? Their uncle said that, yeah, indeed, the tumor was gone. It's just a cavity. It's not enhancing. So, it worked. Okay.
Right? Now you know. Cancer eats what? Cholesterol. Right? Simply Nature people can lower what? Cholesterol. Now you understand why you're taking the tablets? Make sense? Yeah, so more powerful than I tell you this miracle product. Just buy, eat, cure. No, we shouldn't do that, right? Because cancer is not a stationary disease. It keeps changing. So it's best that you understand what's happening. All right?
Especially if we are talking about solid tumors, the number one modality of treatment is surgery. Then to prevent recurrence, then we do the other adjuvant treatments like chemotherapy, immunotherapy, or targeted therapy, and also radiotherapy.
I have learned the innovative modalities that can be offered to my mom. Tapos on how to take care of ourselves also. Siguro si mom pwede sa powder, ako po pwede sa PPARS Plus naman.
Yes, I will invite friends and family members na umattend sa ganitong klase ng ano. Kasi masaya ako eh. Para bang kasi masaya yung outcome, yung staff, helpful, friendly, plus yung yung panelist responsive sila sa mga tanong. Tapos very honest sila sa mga sa mga pagsagot sa mga questions. Basta nasasayahan ako. Ganun.
We're always with you from start to healing!
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Sheila, ang inyong host, at narito po tayo muli sa Simply Nature Success Stories. Napakapalad po natin ngayong araw dahil napaunlakan po tayo ng isang lung cancer patient na may very inspiring story na ibabahagi po ngayong sa ating lahat. Magandang umaga po, Ma'am Violeta. Salamat po sa pagpapaunlak niyo sa amin ngayong araw na ito. Maaari niyo po bang ipakilala ang inyong sarili sa ating po mga manonood?
Okay. Sige, salamat sa inyo. Ako po si Violeta. Magsi-67 years na ako. Na-diagnose po ako nagkaroon ako ng lungs cancer na stage 3C. Halos stage 4 na daw yun. Ay, nung 2022, nag-ubo-ubo na ako pero gumaling. Tapos nung 2023, inuubo na naman ako. Hanggat sa ang plema ko is may dugo. Hindi ko yun sinabi sa mga anak ko. Nilihim ko yung gawa nga ng akala ko TV lang. Mga buwan ng May, sinabi ko sa kanila. Alam naman nila yun na ubo ako eh. Pero sabi ko, hindi na maganda. Ang sabi ko, may dugo na yung may dugo na yung plema ko. Di pina-x-ray nila ako, mayroon ng findings na mayroong bukol ang lungs ko. Ang ginawa naman ng doktor, naman ako, CT scan with contrast. Yun nga, nakita mo, bukol sa sa lungs ko is malaki na. Hanggat sa napansin ko naman na mga buwan ng June o July, mayroon na akong nakapa dito mga bukol. Sa liig ko, binayopsy. Hanggat sa dumating ang result ng biopsy after 2 weeks, hindi na maganda. Dahil nga mayroon akong lungs cancer, stage 3C. Ayaw ko kasi nagpa-chemotherapy noon. Pero dito sa bahay, nagpakuha ako ng oxygen tank, malaki. Hindi na ako nakakakilos kasi noon eh. Halos nakahiga na lang ako, pupunta ng CR, pagbalik ko, salpak agad ng oxygen. Dahil sa grabe na nga. Talagang ang isip ko, kung anong gamot ang makakalunas.
Kayo po ay gumamit ng Simply Nature PPARS. Ano po yung mga naramdaman yung kakaiba o pagbabago?
Nung dati pa man, bago ako binayopsy, na nagsisimple nature na ako siguro mahigit ng 1 buwan, Maganda dahil yung dugo ng plema ko nawala doon sa PPARS liquid. Nawala yung dugo. Hanggat sa ma-biopsy nga ako, mabigyan naman ako ng yung gamot ng biopsy, magaan-gaan na ang magaan-gaan na ang pakiramdam ko kasi wala naman ng dugo.
Naisabay po ninyo itong Simply Nature PPARS dun sa GPT po na yung targeted therapy po na nasabi ninyo kanina. So, nagkaroon po ng magandang improvement sa loob po ng isang buwan, tama po?
Mula nung mag-PPARS liquid ako, na mga nakakailang box ako, nawala yung dugo sa plema ko. Yun naman ang guminha-ginhawa ako. Hindi, ang pagdating ng result ng biopsy at naresetahan ako ng gefitinib, ang bilis lang. 4 na beses lang akong nakainom. Nawala na yung ubo ko, nawala na yung plema ko.
Para po sa kaalaman ng lahat, ang isa po sa maganda sa Simply Nature PPARS is kapag po ito ay naisabay sa conventional treatment, kagaya po ng chemotherapy o kaya po prescription medicine po na pre-prescribe po ng mga oncologist, ay may pagkakataon na mas napapalakas po natin yung bisa or yung effectiveness po ng mga gamot na ito at mga treatment na ito, lalo na kapag kasabay po ng PPARS. So, I think ganun po yung nangyari po sa inyo.
Kasi bago pa man ako na diagnose ng may lungs cancer ako, ayon doon sa biopsy, nainom na ako ng PPARS liquid, saka PPARS ng tablet. Nawala yung plema ng dugo ko. May isang buwan na rin. Ang ganda ng epekto sa akin. Ang sigla ko na, 1 buwan, 1 linggo. Hindi na ako nahingal, hindi na ako nag-oxygen.
After po na, so nagtuloy-tuloy po kayo ng gamit din po ng Simply Nature PPARS?
Hanggang ngayon, nag-Simply Nature pa rin naman ako for prevention na pampalakas din ng resistensya. Hanggang ngayon, nagiinom pa rin naman ako.
Pati po yung mga nodules o yung kulani po ninyo, o bukol sa leeg, ay nawala.
Nung nainom na ako nung gefitinib, yung mga bukol dito na nagdamihan, ang dami po na talaga dito ng bukol. Awa ng Diyos. Unti-unti na rin yun, araw-araw, kada umaga, kinakapa ko, ang liig ko nawala. Pero tuloy-tuloy pa rin naman ng inom ko nung PPARS kasi yun nga ang nakakaganhawa sa akin. Pag nakakainom ako noon, medyo malakas, parang maginhawa bang huminga. Kahit may iniinom naman ako ng hindi na ako hindi na ako nag-oxygen. Kasi nga maginhawa na ang paghinga ko. Hindi naman sa wala akong tiwala sa mga chemotherapy, pero ang dami ko na kasing nakikita na mas lalong daming naaapektuhan ng chemotherapy. Kaya ang ayaw ko talaga ng chemo, hanggat maaari gusto ko na lang yung alternative medicine. Yun na nga, di naman din ako nagpabaya na binibilhan naman ako ng mga anak ko ng mga daming mga herbal. Pero ang naramdaman kong mabisa o maginhawa sa pakiramdam ko ang PPARS. Kaya yun ang tinuloy-tuloy ko. Basta ako mahigpit akong sinasabi ko sa kanila, ayaw ko ng opera. Ayaw ko din ng chemo. Kasi hindi ko kakayanin na yun. Mag-antay-antay tayo ng panahon kung effective itong kasi ang tinira ko na lang, hindi na ako nainom ng iba pang mga alternatives. Sabi ko, ito na lang, dahil ito ang nakakaginhawa sa akin, PPARS nga.
Last January, nagkaroon po kayo ng CT scan. Ano po yung dumabas na sa CT scan ninyo netong January po?
Sa CT scan nitong January, ito lang 2024, is maayos na. Hindi na, wala na yung mga bukol. Kasi kahit si Doc Jansen naman noon, gusto niya na rin ako ma-CT scan para daw malaman, curious daw siya kung ano daw yung nangyayari na sa bukol ko. Maayos na, wala na yung mga bukol. Parang cavity na lang daw yung naiwan ng mga pinag-alisan ng bukol. Yun.
Dito po. So parang ito yung naging resulta po, nung pag-combine po ninyo ng PPARS at saka po ng GPT po this past months po. Ano po yung mensahe na pwede niyo po maibahagi sa kanila, sa mga katulad po ninyo na nasa kalagitnaan po ng cancer journey?
Laban lang. Huwag tayo mawala ng pag-asa. Ang cancer, nagagamot. May Simple Nature, may PPARS, maganda. Yun talaga ang naranasan ko na guminhawa talaga ako. Nung medyo inatake ako ng todo, gusto ko uminom kaagad, kaso lang inom ko lang. Dahil yun ang maginhawa sa pakiramdam ko na. Pag inuubo ako, nakakaginhawa naman talaga.
Ma'am Violeta, maraming salamat po sa pagpapaunlak niyo sa amin at pagbibigay po ng panahon para maibahagi niyo po yung inyong inspiring story po, no, sa ating mga kapwa-pasyente na nasa kalagitnaan o may pinagdadaanan din pong laban against cancer.
Ay, ako si Violeta, 67 years old. Na-diagnose po ako ng lungs cancer, stage 3C. Dati po, hirap ako sa paghinga, naubo, at ang plema ko lumalabas, maraming dugo. Talagang hindi ko na rin alam kung paano. Nung mag-take po ako ng Simple Nature's PPARS liquid at PPARS tablet, maginhawa po ang aking pakiramdam at nawala po ang dugo. At sa ngayon, hanggang ngayon, maayos na po ang pakiramdam ko. I trust Simple Nature. Maniwala po tayo.
Welcome to the innovative modalities in cancer treatment.
The 5.9 centimeter mass was gone. I was actually, at this point, I was surprised myself, no? How can it happen in just a span of 1.5 months? So I asked them, what did your uncle say about this mass? Their uncle said that, yeah, indeed, the tumor was gone. It's just a cavity. It's not enhancing. So, it worked. Okay.
Right? Now you know. Cancer eats what? Cholesterol. Right? Simply Nature people can lower what? Cholesterol. Now you understand why you're taking the tablets? Make sense? Yeah, so more powerful than I tell you this miracle product. Just buy, eat, cure. No, we shouldn't do that, right? Because cancer is not a stationary disease. It keeps changing. So it's best that you understand what's happening. All right?
Especially if we are talking about solid tumors, the number one modality of treatment is surgery. Then to prevent recurrence, then we do the other adjuvant treatments like chemotherapy, immunotherapy, or targeted therapy, and also radiotherapy.
I have learned the innovative modalities that can be offered to my mom. Tapos on how to take care of ourselves also. Siguro si mom pwede sa powder, ako po pwede sa PPARS Plus naman.
Yes, I will invite friends and family members na umattend sa ganitong klase ng ano. Kasi masaya ako eh. Para bang ano, kasi masaya yung outcome, yung staff, helpful, friendly, plus yung yung panelist responsive sila sa mga tanong. Tapos very honest sila sa mga sa mga pagsagot sa mga questions. Basta nasasayahan ako. Ganun.
We're always with you from start to healing.
Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila, and I'm your host for tonight's episode of Simply Nature webinar. This program is powered by Simply Nature International and Simply Healed Medical Group. Discover how cancer patients can benefit from PPARS because tonight's topic is entitled Role of Nutrition in Cancer Care. As we delve into the correlation between diet and cancer management, we aim to illuminate the profound impact of nutrition that can have on the prevention, treatment, and overall well-being of cancer patients. Join us as we navigate in the intersection of food, health, and healing in the context of cancer care. We appreciate each and every one of you for sharing this event to your friends and loved ones who also suffer from cancer. So let's not keep you waiting. I'd like to call on our first health expert who will also answer our questions later on. Okay, so first off, I'd like to call on an entrepreneur who is also a seasoned international speaker on a wide range of topics from personal success to healthcare, the CEO and founding director of Simply Nature International, Mr. Shyan Lim. Good evening, Sir Shyan.
Hi, good evening, Sheila, and good evening to all our listeners today. Well, today's topic is about role of nutrition in cancer care, and it's just perfect timing because I just came back from Davao, where we attended the Davao Research Medical Center, where I talked with a group of 25 over doctors who specialize in this area called medical nutrition. So this is actually a rather relatively new field. It's not lifestyle medicine, all right? It's not your internal medicine. It's actually medical nutrition. So I'll be answering your questions from some of the newfound perspectives I shared with the doctors that I also learned. In fact, in Davao, I got to meet up with some very prestigious doctors who came from St. Luke's Hospital, both in BGC and St. Luke's, Quezon City. So it'll be great. I look forward to your questions. Please enjoy this short session on role of nutrition in cancer, and I'll see you during the Ask Me Anything segment. And yes, I already see some of the questions on the side. I'll prepare them and answer your questions soon. So I'll hand the time back to Sheila.
Thank you, Sir Shyan. Once again, we will be having what we call AMA or Ask Me Anything portion later. So yes, questions are very much welcome, even in Tagalog. So just drop them on the comment section. On to our next health expert who will also share a patient case presentation. He is a graduate from St. Luke's Medical Center, College of Medicine. He is a diplomate of International Board of Lifestyle Medicine and the Philippine College of Lifestyle Medicine. He is also an integrative medical doctor, a medical consultant of Simply Medical Group, and consultant at Alta Integrative Medicine and Wellness Complex at Perpetual Health Medical Center, Las Piñas, where he manages patients with metabolic illnesses and cancer. Let us all watch this.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Simply Healed. And today we have Dr. Jansen with us again.
Hello everyone, hello Shyan, glad to be here again, and hello everybody.
Today we're going to talk about Dr. Jansen's expertise, which is what everybody keeps asking us every Thursday. Doc, can I eat this? Can I eat that? What can I not eat? And Doc, we have had so many feedbacks from your patients telling feedback to you, to our healthcare specialists that what their uncles told them they can or cannot eat.
Yeah.
So today we are going to tackle this topic called cancer nutrition management. So Doc, what can or can we not eat? Doc, our healthcare specialist shares with me that many of our patients tell us that their uncles tell them they can eat anything they want, barbecue, pork, beef. So why do uncles tell us that we can eat anything?
I think it's because of how we were trained, no? Back then, when I was still in medical school, freshly graduated from medical school before I met lifestyle medicine, what the oncos have been prescribing you, the food that they have been prescribing you, that would be the same food that I would be telling you to eat. I mean, there would be no restriction as long as you take your meds, then you're fine.
Yeah, the conventional theory is as long as you take your medicine, you can eat anything you want. But I want to challenge any viewer out there, right? if you are having a severe cough and fever and you are taking your medication, try eating chocolates and see whether your cough gets good or bad. Try eating fried chicken while you're having a fever and tell me if you don't feel worse after that. So we know for a fact that it's true, our food does have an impact on our health. So, and lifestyle medicine is the newest kid on the block, right? It's the latest development in medicine.
Yeah, it's actually been recently accredited by the Philippine Medical Association. So it's a new subspecialty. It's a new specialty in medicine here in the Philippines. Okay.
So that means that everything that Dr. Jansen is sharing is the latest and most updated. So as you know, many of our doctors are, and especially specialists like oncologists, surgeons, and so on and so forth, they keep abreast in their specific fields because they're specialists. So they might not have been as updated in the aspect of nutrition, right? Every specialty has a lot of in-depth knowledge. So that's why, okay? So to all our audience, that's why, how come some of your oncologists may be recommending that you can eat an unrestricted diet as long as you follow the protocol, that the drugs that is being prescribed, you can eat whatever you want. That is really not true. And it's not your oncologist's fault. It's because they have not been completely updated with the newest things. So now these are the things that if you just Google, you will know what are carcinogenic. I mean, the whole definition of a food is carcinogenic means that food causes cancer.
Yes,
so obviously,
exactly.
if you are cancer patients, why are you eating a food that is classified as a carcinogenic? And the definition of carcinogenic is it causes cancer. So obviously, it's not true that you can eat whatever you want if you're a cancer patient. So to clear everything up, Doc, why don't we go through what are the foods that are important in cancer nutrition management?
Yeah. Okay, so let's go through one by one. First, the foods that you need to eat first, okay? So in general, foods
What's the
that
goal?
you,
What's the goal of cancer?
Okay, so first, the goal of cancer nutrition management is to prevent cancer, stop the progression of cancer, and on some occasions, reverse cancer.
So we can actually reverse cancer just
through
by
nutrition alone.
what you eat.
Yeah,
Without
we can actually do it. Okay,
Wow.
but for certain types only, like prostate cancer, if it's diagnosed early stage. Okay, breast cancer if it was diagnosed early stage. Okay, so for those two, and even colon cancer, for those three types of cancer, if it's diagnosed early stage, by changing your lifestyle, we can already reverse it. Okay, but for the other types of cancer, if it's more advanced in stage, then we need the other modalities, the other treatment modalities already. But mainly, the goal of cancer nutrition management is these three: prevent cancer, stop the progression of cancer, and reverse cancer. Okay, now the dosing will now depends on the dosing on where we can
how do we actually get
the results. Okay, so next is the foods that you need to eat. So in general, it's fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. So legumes are beans and nuts, or anything that grows from a stalk, or anything that grows from a pod. Okay, and then whole grains will be examples of whole grains here. Very common here in the Philippines is oatmeal and brown rice. Okay, but I prescribe a very specific rice, no, not brown rice for cancer patients, which is red rice.
red rice for cancer patients?
It has a better anti-cancer profile. Okay, now why am I zeroing in on nutrition always? Because diet constitutes around 30 to 35% of all cancer causes. Okay, it's the majority. It just surpassed smoking. Okay, that's why I'm focusing more on diet. Now, what foods should we avoid? Now, this was the aha moment. This was the aha moment for me when I met lifestyle medicine. The foods that we typically eat every day, no? These are the same foods that cause disease. So I'll give you an example. Red meat. Okay? Red meat causes cancer. Yeah, how much? Red meat increases the risk of colon cancer by 12% per 100 grams. Okay?
Per
Up to
day? Is this per day?
No, that's just 100 grams.
Wow.
Okay? That is increase in risk of getting colon cancer by 12% per 100 grams, up to 44%. Okay, so you can just imagine if you go to a Japanese restaurant, order this tonkatsu, 180 grams, you know, just do the math. You'll know how much increase in colon cancer you'll get from just eating that one. Okay.
So what that means, I mean, because the numbers that we see on the screen is like increased by 44%. And some of you might be thinking, I've been eating meat for years. I don't have cancer. So what this really means is, let's say, based on all your life profile, based on your genes and your age group and the pollution, your state of your general health, let's say you have a 10% chance of getting cancer. And if you eat red meat, your 10% chance of getting cancer just became 14 or 15%. That means there's a 44% increase from 10%. Is that the right? So this is just to say, but if you imagine if you're a smoker and whatever, and you have a 20% chance of getting lung cancer, and then you eat red meat as well, your 20% chance of getting lung cancer just became like 30%.
Yeah.
That is huge, right? So all these different factors that Dr. Jansen is going to show you adds up.
So red meat, 12% to up to 44% increase in risk of colon cancer. For lung cancer, increased risk by 24%. For breast cancer, 7 to 13% for every 120 grams.
Wow.
Okay? For non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is an aggressive type of cancer. That's 11 to 32%. For gastric cancer is another aggressive type. If you get this, it's almost a death sentence. 28 to 65% increased risk. For all other types of cancer, it's 15 to 71%. Okay, so that's for your red meat. Next is chicken.
Okay? Chicken, the white meat, we think is better, right?
Yeah. So consumption of chicken increases the risk of thyroid cancer by 74%.
74%. You almost double your chance of getting cancer.
If you consume chicken, at least 5 servings a week, okay, that's already associated with an increased risk of bladder cancer among men by 52%. Okay, for prostate cancer, if you already have prostate cancer, okay, stop consuming meat because that will accelerate the progression of the cancer.
Wow. Okay? And prostate cancer is actually a safer cancer because it's slow
growing.
So you can have plenty of time to treat it naturally. But if you eat meat, you're going to speed it up. So don't do that. That's a wrong strategy.
So how about for men without evidence of prostate cancer? Okay, so higher consumption of poultry with skin was significantly associated with progression by
love our
2
chicken
to 3
skin.
times. Okay, so what is 2 to 3 times? That is 230% increase. Okay.
Wow.
So that much. Next is fish. This is the more famous.
We always think fish is safe, right? Fish is safe.
No, it's not. It's actually not. So higher intake of meat and fish was associated with an increased risk of endometrial cancer by as much as 70%. And also, for breast cancer, you increase your risk of by 14% for every 25 grams.
So I just wanted to share with everyone that, this is an interesting, we always thought it was a safe meat. But now with sea pollution, worse than ever.
Yeah.
And at least on land, sometimes we can catch someone dumping toxins onto the land.
Yeah.
But people dumping toxins into the ocean in the middle of a sea, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
And so that risk is pretty high right now. So be careful.
Yeah. Especially with microplastics as well.
Microplastics as well. So fish is no longer...
It's no longer safe meat to eat.
No longer safe.
So next is, what if I do not eat whatever kind of meat? I'll just go for the eggs.
Eggs, yes.
Okay, so healthy men who consume 2.5 or more eggs per week had an 81% increased risk of lethal prostate cancer compared to those men who consume less than half an egg per week. Okay, so those of you who are eating eggs every day, okay, now you know. All right. So what about for all other cancers? Yeah, significant increase in the odds of getting all other cancers in all sites by 71%. Okay, that is huge. Okay,
that is huge.
Okay, so that's eggs. Next is dairy products. So a lot of you likes or loves to drink milk, loves your ice cream, loves your yogurt. Okay, actually milk can accelerate the growth of cancer. Okay,
because of the hormones.
Because of the hormones, because of the animal protein, and the higher intake of cheese. Okay, increase the risk of breast cancer by 53%. Okay, then those women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer already, okay, if you continue to eat dairy products, Then you have a 49% increased risk of dying from breast cancer.
Wow, that is very significant.
Yeah, compared to those who are consuming less than half a serving a day. Okay. Then women who consume 1/4 to 1/3 cup of cow's milk per day, you have a 30% increased chance of breast cancer. Okay, so milk is not really a good thing to drink. Okay, for men naman, okay, consumption of dairy products increase the risk of getting prostate cancer by as much as 9%. Okay?
Not so bad compared to
not so bad, but
to women.
it's still bad.
Still 9%.
Still cancer, okay? But now for those who have early stage prostate cancer, no, so skimmed milk, low fat milk consumption is associated with getting prostate cancer as well. So whole milk intake increases the risk of fatal prostate cancer by 49% and progression to fatal disease by as much as 2.2 times. So that is 220%. Okay? So
Wow.
that is really huge. Next, let's go to
Pickle.
vegetables. Okay? So yes, there are certain types of vegetables that can increase the risk of cancer. Yeah, what type? Pickled vegetables.
But I thought like kimchi or this is...
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Yeah, because it's like
previously.
probiotic, diba? You know?
Yeah, but I was wrong. There was one patient whom I prescribed kimchi. But after learning this, I immediately told that patient of mine to stop eating. I was wrong about that. Because consumption of pickled vegetables, okay, so kimchi, achara, they can increase your risk for gastric cancer by 50%. Huge. Why? It's because of the natural toxins that the fermenting produces.
You know,
Yeah, the nitrates.
You know, Doc, there's one thing that's very interesting about all these that we hear. Like it's a common understanding that we thought kimchi is vinegar.
Yeah,
It's
that's also what I thought.
you know, but I want to share with everyone. Research has shown that the Irish can drink more alcohol than the rest of us,
Yeah.
right? And research has shown American Indians, not your Indian Indians, okay? Your American Indians can smoke tobacco and have a lower risk of getting lung cancer, all right? So that one thing that I think we are so excited about is that, we thought kimchi is good, but you know, we don't have the full Korean diet.
Yeah.
Maybe there is, not maybe, I'm quite sure there's something else that the Koreans eat
Yeah.
in their diet that balances off maybe
The risk.
the
or-
risk from coming from
Yeah,
kimchi
or it's
alone.
just a racial genetic difference. Most Asians are lactose intolerant, but Caucasians, when they drink milk, nothing happens.
So we have got to be very careful with the myths that we hear. So if you want to adopt like kimchi is good for you, then you better make sure you eat all things Korean.
Yeah.
All right, and if you ever take a look at Koreans, you know how much vegetable they eat, right? Even your samgyeopsal
Yeah.
is lots of vegetable with one
Yeah,
piece of meat, right?
yeah.
For us here is one piece of vegetable with lots of meat. That's not Korean
Yeah.
at all, right? That's
And,
just Filipino
or-
Korean.
Yeah. Or you can make sure that you're Korean.
Or you make sure you're Korean, right?
Yeah.
So I think these are some of the important things that we've got to understand even as we give you guidelines to the food. We have to remember when we hear that one culture takes this is really good. For example, drinking red wine. You know, when I went to France, I was shocked. My host, you know, when we go to work, I don't know how many of you out there, you know, if you do this, that's great. Do you bring a water bottle to work? I mean, do you bring a flask of water to work? When I was in Paris, right, my host, he brought a whole bottle of wine. That's what he drinks for lunch. Okay, for lunch.
Wow.
This is not the 1 cup that we talked about in the alcohol program. That's every day 1 bottle for lunch. That's like their water. So I think their system is different from ours.
Yeah, it's different. We
So-
have the racial difference.
Yeah, so we've got to be careful, but you know, overall, as we've talked about in this segment, it's really across the board. Taking in lots of meats is going to be detrimental to you.
Yeah.
Right? Taking lots of milk and eggs, milk especially, and dairy products is not Asian. You've noticed that eating tofu is Asian.
Yeah.
Okay, taking tofu is Asian.
Tahu is natural for us. Taking dairy is not.
Based on just the food that we eat, though, we can also get the same diseases that
The Westerners
have. Yeah, if you, local Japanese, right? If you put that local Japanese to Hawaii or to the US or to the Western countries, that same Japanese will have the same disease as those as the Westerners do. So
No, it is, what you say is really true because Okinawa, they have one of the longest lifespan.
Yeah.
Almost, if you're an old person in Okinawa in Japan, you would likely be older than 95 and very easily you live above 100 years old.
Yeah.
But they found out that if you were born in Okinawa but you moved to Tokyo, your lifespan will drop to the Tokyo lifespan, okay? Because your food and your diet is different from an Okinawan. So really, the foods that we eat, if it can affect something as simple as an Okinawan who moved to Tokyo will see his life expectancy drop. So let me ask you this simple question. If that's just for life expectancy, is it true that for your cancer, you can eat anything? If just changing an Okinawan diet to a Tokyo diet, your life expectancy can drop 30 years. Now, is that true that if you have cancer, you can eat anything? So I think with that question, I think there are now many questions in your mind. So let's move to our Ask Me Anything segment, and you can ask all you want about what a cancer patient should eat. And if you want to know whether your favorite food is good or bad for you, ask now. We're gonna start, right?
Almost here. Countdown, sir.
No, Sheila, you're on already.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. Wow, thank you so much for once again joining our webinar for tonight. For those of you who just came in, our webinar for tonight is entitled Role of Nutrition in Cancer Care. All right, so for those of you who just came in, you are watching another episode of Simply Nature webinar, and we are now in the Q&A, or what we call AMA, or Ask Me Anything portion. So without further ado, let's answer your questions. I'd like to call on once again our founding director of Simply Nature International and PPARS expert from Singapore, Mr. Shyan Lim, to answer our questions for tonight. Good evening, Sir Shyan.
Hello, Sheila. Good evening, everybody. It's such a great topic. And as I mentioned, right, I just came back from Davao. So it was a conference for medical nutrition. And I was speaking to a group of 25 doctors. We were just talking about PPARS. So tonight's topic is so timely. All right, so let's jump in and answer some questions.
All right, sir. Okay, well, the first question that we have here is coming from Miss Glenn's Regala. Okay, just a second. Okay. Let me just get that question. Okay, good evening, Sir Shyan. What can you recommend to stimulate appetite of an elderly cancer patient with bland or metal-like taste buds? This is a good question, Sir Shyan.
Yeah, that's a good question. I suspect that this elderly is probably undergoing some treatment. All right. So when you undergo some treatment protocols, especially treatments like chemotherapy, your taste buds get affected. And having a metallic taste is one of the more common symptoms or side effects. Okay, there is no real one way to solve this. What you can do is to experiment. All right, you gotta experiment. So what you can do is to feed of the day even more, how shall we say, turned off by food. So having them eat a little bit at a time might whet that palate also, may get them used to eating as well. So what you can do is to experiment with different dishes, different vegetables. So maybe you try carrots, see how it tastes like to the taste buds, and you'll be surprised, you know, as the treatment goes by, their taste buds can fluctuate and change, almost like, you know, pregnant women. In your first trimester, you like this food. In your last trimester, you find that you prefer some other food. So the way to do it is actually just to experiment. All right. So experiment with different recipes. You might want to choose things that have stronger flavors, for example, ginger, turmeric, all that. But what I would advise is if the elderly has low appetite, then what you really want to do is give them lots of supplementation. So if they can't eat, then maybe they can drink, right? And their questions will ensure and things like that. So I might as well just tackle it right now, right? Ensure and milk is one of the most commonly prescribed nutritional food that oncos themselves will recommend. Now, what is the take from lifestyle medicine and medical nutrition? If you read different blogs, they'll say different things. But as you can see, even the WHO has recognized that animal products cause cancer. They are carcinogenic. All right. So why would an onco or a doctor prescribe you Ensure when it's already classified as a cancer-causing drink or source of food? The reason is very simple. It's better that you have some protein than no protein. So it's the better choice. All right. It's like what is worse, to be hit by a bicycle or a car? Then the answer is get hit by the bicycle, right? Because if you get hit by a car, it's going to be a lot worse. So that's the reason. So if you're losing a lot of weight, your doctor needs you to put on weight. So even though milk is not good for you for a cancer patient, they will still encourage you to take Ensure. Now, the good news is even the nutritional companies also know that now. So Ensure has a plant-based formula. Hallelujah. So that is plant. Yeah, you have plant-based Ensure. So that allows you to have the goodness of the Ensure without all the negative effects of animal protein. All right. You can also take plant protein shakes. Okay. So plant protein shakes come in all sorts of flavor, from chocolate to whatever, you know. You just go to some fitness store and you can find. They now don't only sell whey protein. Whey protein is made from milk. Okay. So that's animal based. Go for plant proteins. Now, plant proteins, the common plant proteins they'll use are green peas, legumes, all right, your mongo, all right, soy. No, you'll be surprised, soybean is now no longer the primary ingredient. In fact, it's peas. You'll find a lot of plant proteins, they use peas instead of soybean. Okay, so it's not your, I guess it's not your grandmother's recipe anymore. So they've updated, all right? So that answers the Ensure part. And for the old folks, supplementation. Okay, this is where it's really important. Since the appetite is low, you want to make sure that you take supplements that are easy to swallow, high in nutrition, so they don't have to take a lot. Okay, so PPAR tablets is one of the best things you can take as a cancer patient as a food supplement to give you your nourishment, right? Yeah. Okay, next question.
No, actually, sorry, just a very, very quick follow-up question, because we're talking about changing of taste buds here. And during chemotherapy or during the cancer journey, there's a lot going on with, inside the body of the patient. Is it the same mechanism why there's a reason there's like a resetting of taste buds of patients? Like before they are craving for this food, and then after the journey they have different cravings now.
Sorry, I missed the first part. Yeah, sorry, Shia, I missed the first part because I saw Janet's question about meat causing cancer, and she made. Why don't you ask your question again? Sorry, so that I can answer it before I go to Janet's question. Yeah.
No worries.
You said something about taste buds.
Yeah, because the question is something to do with taste buds, and a lot is going on inside the body of a patient going through the cancer journey. Usually, is it the same mechanism why there's this reason, like the taste buds is being reset, the cravings are not the same anymore after the journey? Is it the same mechanism?
Oh, actually, now when you take medication, so medication are they are synthetic ligands, okay? They are synthetically created. So medication is not natural, all right? And there's a very simple reason to, there's a very simple way to understand this also. You can't patent an apple. That means you can't go to the patent office, the copyright office to say you patent an apple. So because an apple is a natural product, you cannot say your company created it. So drugs are actually formulated by individual companies, and they're not natural. They are synthetically created and assembled. So that is why drugs can be patented. It is your company's design. You design the molecules this way. So because of that, drugs have lots of interactions in our body, and the more harsh drugs with very strong effects, then it affects your taste buds. So there can be many, many reasons for, so different chemotherapy drugs, different treatments change your taste buds in different ways. But one of the most common things is once you are on medication, the color of your poop change. Usually, if you're on medication, the color of your poop turns to yellowish, like brown yellowish, is more on yellow color. Then you know this person is taking a lot of drugs, all right? And of course, the taste buds change. And to your question, there's no definitive answer. There's so many mechanisms at play. Even if you take traditional Chinese medicine, your taste buds can also change, because even if you take natural herbs, they do have medicinal effect, and that does change your body chemistry during the healing process. Okay, but nothing to worry about. Okay, you're in good care of your doctors. All the drugs, chemotherapy that you take, even radiation therapy, these have been exhaustively researched, and your uncles know what they're doing. Yeah.
Thank you, Sir Shyan. All right, so for our next question,
Okay.
since you have mentioned Jeanette question here, let me read that question.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you read that question? Because that question is like a loaded question.
It is. Okay. The question is, meat causes cancer. Can you provide a conclusive evidence for that? For thousands of years, man has been eating meat, and suddenly veganism is a thing and meat is carcinogenic.
Okay. This is a question that seems very obvious, but for Janet, I hope you don't find any of my answers. I'm not directing them specifically at you, but I'm just gonna explore what you have asked. All right. So number one, you mentioned that meat has been eaten by us for thousands of years. Okay. That statement is not totally accurate or correct. Okay, I'll give you an example, right? If even if you just take a look at the Middle East, let's just take the Middle East, right? Let's take a look at an example of the Bible, because in Philippines, there are many Catholics and believers. So let's take a look at the Bible. Okay, so in the Bible, when there's a celebration, you kill a lamb, right? You kill a goat, right? You kill a goat. It's a celebration. So you kill a goat, just like in Philippines, you have a lechon. You know, it's a celebration when you have a lechon. So it does mean that eating meat is something precious. Precious, all right? It's not something you do every day, 2 times to 3 times a day. Okay? So it's not true that for thousands of years we've been eating meat, so much meat. I'm going to go to my heritage, which is Chinese. When I was growing up, my grandma always told me, "Oh, Jhen, you're so fortunate. You know, when we were growing up as kids, we only ate chicken on our birthday. So it means that every 365 days, they only eat meat like once." Right? And that might also be the reason. I mean, back then, China was poor, and I come from Singapore. My grandma, in the beginning in Singapore, we were all poor, right? So we largely ate cheap stuff, which was expensive. In fact, sometimes our marketplace is a bit distorted. It's vegetables now, meat now is so cheap, but it doesn't. The cow has to eat the corn in order to grow, and the cow has to eat lots and lots of corn before you know. So there's a lot of market mechanisms that I won't go into. But here's our assumption that we've been eating meat for thousands of years. not been eating meat at the same quantity we eat meat today, right? So in 1 month today, if you eat a breakfast steak, chicken teriyaki for lunch, and a hamburger for dinner, in 1 day you eat meat 3 times. In 1 month, you eat it 99 times. You are eating it like you are eating what your great-grandparents ate in 1 day. In 1 month, you eat what they eat in a few years, right? Because they only eat meat a few times a year. So historically speaking, we are agricultural. So even our biology, you can see from our teeth. So it's not saying that we don't eat meat. I'm just saying that it's not true that the quantity of meat that we eat today, right? Then okay, and Jhen is now asking, what happens in places that are vegetarian? Yeah, they adapt to it. In fact, there are some immunodeficiencies where a pure carnivore diet would work better than a vegan diet. All right, so it really goes case by case basis. But let's talk about cancer today. Let's talk about cancer today. So it is not me, it is not vegans, I'm not a vegan, it's not those vegetarians that say that meat is carcinogenic. It is the World Health Organization that classifies meat as class 1 carcinogenics. So carcinogenics are items that promote or increase your chance of getting cancer. It's very different from saying directly that it causes cancer, okay? Because some people who are vegetarians also get cancer. So how do you explain that? Right? So we are not going so exhaustively like that. But if you have a choice, since even the WHO has recognized that meat are carcinogenic and vegetables are not, then if you have cancer, instead of rolling with the dice, right, why don't you take the safe option? Okay, so this is where we are coming from. I'm not a strict vegan or advocate for pure vegetarian. I'm just being smart in the sense that if I have cancer today, I will avoid anything that you won't walk into a room full of people smoking cigarettes, right? If you have cancer, it's just you wouldn't choose to do that. So while I'm undergoing my treatments, if I have cancer, I would avoid meat for the time being. Doesn't mean that for the rest of my life I don't eat meat, but especially while I'm undergoing cancer treatment, I would avoid animal protein. Now, there are very extensive research. You can Google this book called The China Study. That's a very interesting one. It's not a study made in China. It's not a study made by Chinese. It's a study made by the US government, all right? But I think they use a lot of China, they use China data. This is a very interesting book about how meat and animal protein is correlated to cancer. So you can take a look at that. I hope I sort of answered your question, all right? Again, it is in medical nutrition, in lifestyle medicine, in WHO, when you have cancer, avoid animal protein. Animal protein specifically, in a lot of biochemistry in your body, it results in conditions that will promote or make it more easy for your cancer to progress. So if you avoid all these things, you have another bullet, you position yourself better than someone who eats a lot of meat. Okay. I hope that helps. Let's help. I hope that helps with that discussion. Let's go to something else and then we can jump back to it. I'm sure it'll all link up.
Definitely. Thank you, Ms. Janet, for your question. I love the intense participation of our viewers tonight, sir. Okay. Next question coming from Ms. Noemi Veras. Is it possible to eat raw vegetable or salad or even fruits with skin during chemotherapy or immunotherapy? Thank you.
Sorry, I missed your question again. Sorry.
One more time. Is it possible to eat raw vegetables or salad or even fruits with skin during chemotherapy or immunotherapy? Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And it's really good. But I want to caution one thing. It is not really safe to eat raw foods outside of your home. Okay, let me share with you why. Okay, because you are not sure whether the very, very busy cooks in the kitchen in a restaurant actually wash your vegetables properly. Okay, and yes, vegetables by nature are less harmful than animal protein, but the thing is that a lot of our vegetables and fruits today have lots of pesticides and fertilizers sprayed on them. And these chemicals are carcinogenic. So I know it sounds almost like you turn left is not good for you, turn right is not good for you. But that's the thing. Now, how do you solve this? When you are outside eating, always choose cooked vegetables. So salads are healthy if you know that they are prepared in a safe manner. All right. But salads are not the best choice if you're eating at a restaurant that you're not confident in. Okay. So go for cooked vegetables. That will be the safest.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I just quickly share with our viewers what I've learned from Doc Jansen? Because with
Yes,
Doc Jansen, he actually mentioned in our previous webinars how to properly wash the vegetables that you are eating. So he specifically mentioned that the 9/10 should be the water, and then 1/10 should be the salt. Rock salt.
Salt, yeah, or vinegar. Yeah, or vinegar.
Yes, there you go. Okay,
And
so
you can use that to soak your vegetables, and it will help to remove or neutralize a lot of the pesticides and fertilizers. And also, most pesticides break down under heat. That's why when you cook your vegetables, you neutralize all these carcinogenic, toxic chemicals that they spray on your vegetables.
thank you, Sir Shyan. Okay, another interesting question coming from Ms. Aimee Chuachiko. Is it okay if I take PPARS while I'm taking oral chemo drugs?
Absolutely fine. All right. Absolutely fine. There's no contraindication. All right. But usually, just for how shall we say, just so that your body absorbs the drugs, chemo, the PPARS, more, how shall we say, in a more pure manner, you usually want to split your medication with food intake, right? So you have a break between, so you don't like eat your hamburger and swallow your chemotherapy pills together, right? So you don't do that. So you also try not to do that with the supplements such as PPARS that you're taking. So I guess a 1 hour gap would be advisable, right? But of course, because PPARS is actually just natural food, it is okay if you really accidentally took it together, you forgot, and then you took your chemotherapy oral drugs, and then like 15 minutes later you took your tablets. Oh, no worries, there is no contraindication. It's just that for the sake of efficacy, it might be better to separate them so that you get the most out of your oral chemotherapy drugs and you get the most out of your supplements, because you give your body the time to absorb each of that individually. Right?
Thank you, Sir Shyan. Another question coming from Pardo de Lisay. Which is more potent, the PPARS extract powder jar or liquid vials for stage 4 gallbladder with metastasis in liver? And
for sure, the liquid. The liquid is the most potent, right? The liquid is the most potent. There are conditions that we prefer the powder. For example, kidney. All right, why? The liquid is more potent, but the way the liquid is extracted, it also contains more, right? So that's why for kidney, weak kidney patients, we prefer the powder extract. But in all cases, the liquid extract is actually the most potent.
thank you, Sir Shyan. Okay, another question coming from Ms. Rufina Francia. Do you have products that can increase bone density? I got osteoporosis aside meds. Any recommendation?
Okay, that's very good. This is a good question. Okay, now with Dr. Jansen talks about osteoporosis. Most people would think that I need to take calcium supplements. All right. No, the answer is actually you need to take some calcium. Okay. You don't need to load up on very high levels of calcium supplements, because what you want to do is to actually also gently stimulate your body's absorption of calcium and the use of calcium to strengthen your bones. Okay. So what you can do, PPAR tablets is a good source of calcium. You would have to take at least 20 micro tablets. Now you can take some calcium supplements, but if you take foods rich in calcium, that should be fine. Now, what you do need to do is to do very light, but some resistance training, okay? Your bones will only grow in strength. Your bones will only use calcium, the calcium that you take, to strengthen if there is certain amount of stress on your bones. How many of you have noticed individuals who are a little bit more jolly, like Santa Claus, right? A little bit more jolly, you will notice they have very thick bones, right? So if a lady or a gentleman is a bit on the heavy side, if you were to feel their bones, especially if they were heavy since young, all right? Notice many of them has very thick bones. The reason why is because their body is under stress to carry a heavier weight than a very thin person. And because of that, their bones are actually stronger. All right. So in order to overcome osteoporosis, you can't just like avoid stressing your bones. It's actually the reverse. You actually have to apply a certain amount of stress to strengthen itself. But of course, because if you're suffering from osteoporosis, you don't want to do heavy weights, but you don't want to do no weights. All right. You can do resistance training such as push-ups. There are simple push-ups that you can do on your knees, right? It's even easier. Pushing against the wall and things like that. You gotta give yourself some resistance. And as you build strength, you can do very light weights like just 500 gram, those very mini dumbbells for ladies, all right? Or these things need you. And then as you monitor your bone density, you will find that it will increase. Then you can increase more weights. The more weights your body can take, the stronger your bones will be. So you can't just take calcium and then your bones become strong. It doesn't work that way. Resistance to sort of like stress your bone a little bit, give a bit of pressure that you have to carry some weight, right? Your own weight is fine. And then gradually your bones strengthen.
Cancer patients now, you need to exercise, definitely. Strengthen your bones.
Sugar, better. That doesn't. Cigar smoke is okay. For example, okay, I think you understand what I'm saying. Okay, there are sugars that are less harmful, and then but all sugars will sort of feed cancer. But you do need sugar, so you cannot just avoid that. All right, your body still needs sugar. Now, in my discussions with Dr. Jansen, okay, the best type of sugar is date sugar, sugar from dates. All right, and they are actually very, very tasty. Okay, they're very, very tasty. I personally use Muscavo or agave. I actually stopped using Muscavo because the taste does alter the taste of my drinks or the food. Yeah, so I actually use agave sugar, right? So that, but whatever sugar forms you use, try because they actually bleach it, so they will add processes to that. All right, yeah.
Actually, sir, there's one more that Doc Jansen mentioned before. It's the blackstrap molasses.
Oh yes, that is, but that's not easy to use. That's not easy to use, right? Molasses is not easy to use. Yeah, right. But that's a good one.
You know what, sir? What I like about the topic today is that it is not only applicable for our.
I just wanted to say, Ms. Jhen, okay, that the reason is because what you point out is in the heart of everybody who loves meat, and they often highlight the points that you bring up. Comfort foods, they make us happy, and it makes the whole process of fighting cancer more easy to go through, because when you're fighting cancer, even a bit of smile and happiness makes your day. So being able to eat something that you like does have its value. Okay, so we'll tackle some of that.
I'm taking PPARS powder and PPARS tablet.
No, I think you're very wise. It's not just for the last almost 20 plus years. I modulate your acidity. Okay, it affects all that. And it also modulates your immune system. So it keeps your immune system active. So whether you have cancer or don't have cancer, so you're doing the right thing. Now, you're doing the right thing because you don't know whether it's malignant or not. So you are actually doing something. You're doing tablets can also help your body remove benign tumors. Our body actually has, our immune system, our macrophage cells actually eat up tumor. Many of our clients have benign growth. It happened personally in my family with my niece. She had a growth in her lip. The pediatrician wanted to cut it out, but sister opted of an elderly. I don't know why elderly with at least PPAR protocols. Right? If you are not sure, so don't wait. When you find out your cancer drops all the way down to 30%, 40%, sometimes even lower. So it's so important. If you suspect that you have cancer, you don't even need to actually go for a lot of tests. A simple conversation with a family doctor will already give them a good idea whether or not you have cancer. So don't avoid your doctor. If you find that you don't want to go to the hospital, just make a consult with Dr. Jansen. You know what? Don't worry about it. Or he'll tell you, you know what? You should be concerned. Let's go for a scan. All right?
The physical observation or physical appearance of the tumor or of the mass at the moment, even though if it hasn't been biopsied. So it's always better to take action. And may I just say, sir, even on nodules, if you want to level up the effectivity, there is
to not save money. Take the best that you can afford. All right. Now, I just want to answer a few different methods of different from the generic trastuzumab, but they belong to the same category. The efficacy and effect is almost identical. Okay, scientific name is the same. The brand name is different. So to answer your question, yes, it's the same thing. Now, the next one that I saw was someone asked, this is an important, it's not very specific. It can be elevated for a whole range of reasons. So you might have a high LDH and don't scare yourself. Oh no, I have cancer. Why your LDH levels in general, if you eat a lot of meat, you have higher chronic inflammation. Okay, like for example, if you take a lot of dairy products, cheese and meat, then you generally will with other signs and other questions. A lot of times just medical interview of your medical history, taking a look at some other aspects of your health just by asking questions, and they will correlate it to the LDH levels and they will cognitive.
Thank you, Sir Shyan. All right. This question was thrown to us privately by Angela from Zamboanga. Is PPARS herbal?
PPARS is herbs, are plants with certain nutrients that have medicinal properties, but also are toxic if you're not sick. Yes, you can't eat herbs. So we're not, for example, ginseng. Now, there are many ginseng that like American ginseng is closer to food, but Korean ginseng is actually not. So overly heaty. Your yang qi will be too much, okay? It become hyper, and your body feel feverish or what happens to be classified as food. So it is safe for general and everyday use, and consistently every day.
Even for babies, even for pregnant.
Yes, even for babies, Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Shyan. All right, another question coming from Mr. Cardo Delisay. The patient as well as the therapy. So is it still okay to take PPARS after 8 sessions of chemo? I mean, the patient want to finish the whole chemo sessions first before taking PPARS. What can you say about this?
Oh, okay. Okay, no. I just want to share that if you're not sure whether your chemotherapy protocol is wash your hair, okay, but you don't want to normally get wet. So right? So after you wash your hair, you dry your hair, then you wear your raincoat when you go outside to walk, right? So that when it rains, your hair doesn't get wet. But when you want to wash your hair, you don't wear your raincoat and go into the CR and then wear your raincoat and stand under the shower. It's useless, right? So this is the only time where we may not want to take the PPARS together with your chemotherapy, because the chemotherapy is going to working in your body for about 12 hours. Right? After 12 hours, most of the effect is already gone. After 24 hours, it's almost all gone. And after 48 hours, it's really not working anymore. Okay? In the sense that whatever the chemo is supposed to do, okay, it is done its work. So at that point, you want to repair all the damage, because next week, you're going to get another session. Meantime, you want to quickly repair all the damage the chemo may have done to the healthy cells and healthy chemotherapy protocol. All right, so that everybody knows, even the oncologist will tell you chemotherapy drugs have side effects. Very easy. Just type the name of the chemotherapy drug in Google. It will list out all the side effects. Many of them include damaging your bone marrow cells. Okay, so this is why you want to take the PPAR protocol to protect yourself while you're undergoing chemo, to recover in sports. Okay, I hope that helps you understand.
Thank you, sir.
So
That
the
makes
answer is
sense. Yes, makes sense,
Okay.
sir. Because our patients who are on PPARS while they are on chemotherapy journey doesn't seem to have significantly lessened their immune system even during the journey. Okay. All right. Another question coming from Ms. P. Pineda: is barley good for cancer patients? Good about PPARS is that we have no contraindication with other medication or even. Okay. All right. Another question, by Miss Carolyn Valdez. I take PPARS after Tabisol. Patient operation via senior is my 45 days. Is it okay to take barley also? Oh, okay, you said yes. Okay. Another interesting question.
has mentioned this before. Cinnamon is one of those positive herbs, right? Okay. And everyone tonight, all right, if you can eat healthy, right? Low sugar, or you don't even need to put sugar in anything. Why? If you eat fruits, if you eat carrots as well, that's why carrots taste so sweet, right? Starch, if you eat any rice at all, they break down into sugar anyway. Okay, so that's the reason why you don't, ideally, if you can miserable, then I would say take very minimal amount, take the best choice. For example, date sugar if you can, agave sugar if you can't find date sugar, right? There are questions about, can we eat fish, can we eat chicken? Is organic chicken better than non-organic chicken? The answer is obviously yes, because organic chicken they don't pump hormones into it, right? Imagine growth hormones being pumped into the chicken so that they can grow 3 or 4 times faster than a normal organic chicken. Yeah, imagine what that would do to your cancer tumor, right? Cause your cancer tumor to also grow very fast. So these are all the best choice. Now, French fry and they say they're eating healthy. No. Okay, when we talk about vegetables, we are really talking about green leafy vegetables. We are talking about your bok choy. We are talking about your eggplant. We are talking about your okra. We are talking about cabbage. We are talking about carrots. We are talking about lettuce, right? That's vegetables. Okay. If you're talking about potato, then all right, and you don't need a lot of that. Okay, you don't need a lot of that.
For management of cancer with regards to nutrition.
Sorry.
There are so many questions that
the goals, everybody here it is, right? And I'll take the opportunity to also answer some of the very good points that Janet brings up. Okay. First of all, I'm addressing largely audience tonight. You are from Philippines or Southeast Asia. All right. So I'm addressing that first. Okay. In Southeast Asia or in Asia, it is only in the last 100 years or maybe 60 years that we have eaten so much meat. Right. Now, Eskimos who live in the North Pole have no access to vegetation at all. They don't eat vegetables. They eat 100% seal meat their whole life. Okay. It has been proven that we acclimatize, we adapt. Okay. So the Eskimos adapted to eating meat only. The Irish can drink lots of alcohol, and apparently it doesn't damage their liver as easily as other people. So the Irish are famous for drinking. American Indians apparently can smoke more tobacco than a Chinese or a Filipino, and they have a lower risk of developing lung cancer. So I agree with all the examples that you can state about how case studies here and there, but at the end of the day, let's use some basic common sense, right? We are Asians, so our body over the last, let's not even say 2,000 years, the last 500 years, our body is adapted to the foods that we find in our region. So throughout the last 200 years, 300 years, most of our great-great-great-grandparents are farmers. And Asia has been traditionally not so wealthy, and we are very farm-oriented. So meat has always been a special occasion thing. So from all this perspective, cancer is to go back to foods that we are totally adapted to, which is actually largely vegetable-based. Are there cases like, for example, immunodeficiencies that use a pure carnivore diet to treat? Yeah, there are. But we're talking about, in general, cancer. Now, so if you say we eat vegetables, then there is one bad habit that Filipinos and most Asians have when it comes to eating a vegetable-based diet. We eat a lot of rice. A lot of rice. Now, that is not good for cancer. You're actually feeding your cancer cells as well. Okay, so because high blood sugar, you'll cause the insulin to flood your system, and insulin is like a growth hormone as well. So that's why eating lots of potatoes, eating lots of rice is not cancer. It's not the gold standard of cancer, right? The gold standard of cancer nutrition is to eat green vegetables, carrots, eggplants, all these other types of vegetables, and it's not just French fries and rice. Okay? Now, and especially if you're going for chemotherapy, you're going for chemotherapy and you need the protein intake based shakes. Okay. Now, again, are there cases where, like Ms. Janet shares that, you know, many of her patients, I believe she's a medical practitioner, in some form or another, do well with a meat intake. Well, I want to confess that I think many people's vegan diets are incredibly unhealthy. I've met so many vegetarians who are actually very, very fat, which makes me wonder what kind of vegetarian they are. They are taking fake meat and all that, a lot of carbo. So that is not a healthy diet also. Do I agree about Beyond Meat, you know, those synthetic meats? They have more than 70 ingredients. They are hyper processed. So you're lying to yourself. You say, I'm cancer patient, so I eat Beyond Meat, it's vegetable-based meat patty. No, it's not, right? It's so hyper processed. So I have a Lola who cured herself of aggressive leukemia. She just ate raw vegetables, but then she was 90. When she died, she was 90 years old, right? That means when she had a cancer, that was like 40 years ago. 40 years ago, I think the vegetables had no pesticides. Everything was very healthy. That is a good example of how, if you take vegetables, it's probably the gold standard across the board. Now, is it possible for specific cases that you might want to take meat? Yeah, that it is possible. But if you don't have a specific medical consultant or practitioner advising you and taking you through that process, then the gold standard, eat plant-based diet, right? And not starch, not potato and rice, no, okay? Yeah, real vegetables.
Sir, may I just quickly, I'm sure that a lot of our avid viewers can definitely recall the four groups that Doc Jansen always reiterates. It's the fruit, vegetable, whole grains, and also the legumes. So he also mentioned something that in the perspective of lifestyle medicine, there's a component of meat that actually induces the growth of cancer. That's why, I guess, for cancer patients, this is something that we should be more careful about. Okay?
Yeah, because, okay, another reason why, for example, okay, why is it sometimes you hear of cases where a person does better on a meat diet? Is because, you know, one of the things that feed cancer is sugar, right? It's sugar. So a lot of vegetable diet, a person who says he is vegetarian usually eats a lot of starchy stuff. But if you only eat meat protein, you don't actually have much carbohydrates. So that doesn't create sugar in your body, right? So your body then goes into ketones, a different metabolic process. So in one way, it starves the cancer cells. Plant-based animal protein also has carcinogenic effect. Maybe it balances off because the many people who eat a vegetable-based diet eat a very unhealthy vegetable-based diet. Then the few people who eat a meat diet actually very careful about how they prepare their meat and what kind of meat that they eat. They eat very minimally processed meat. So in other words, a so-called less healthy meat diet is more healthy than a very unhealthy vegetable-based diet. So that's why sometimes we might get data that is slightly different. But again, we go back to we go back to the fact that plant-based is pretty much the gold standard. We can find it in our biology. Most of our teeth is for chewing plants. Okay, I see a question. Good for CKD. Yes, very good for CKD. Right?
That's actually my last question for you tonight, sir.
Okay, so chronic. Okay, how? I just met with the vice president of the Society for Nephrologists, which is your specialist in kidney, right? So it's fresh on my mind, the topics that we talk about in CKD. So how does PPARS, be it tablet or soft gel or powder or extract liquid, how is it good for CKD? Okay. When your body has a lot of proteins, and this is here is an example, right? When your body has lots of proteins act like sand. Imagine you take your filter and you throw sand into your water filter. It will clog up the water filter, because the sand will go and get stuck in the water filter. And it might tear the water filter if the water speed is very high, and then the sand will act like bullets, right? Shooting and ripping apart your filter. Okay, so PPARS actually reduce inflammation, increases your metabolic processes, so you're better able to process, for example, the proteins that you take. You're able to better manage the inflammation in your blood vessels and all that. And that whole process helps ease the pressure on your kidney. Okay, so it doesn't mean that directly it affects your kidney, but your kidney, your CKD is developed and becomes worse because of other factors. For example, if you are hypertension, high blood pressure means that it forces, your body is under pressure, so it forces the fluids through your kidney at a higher pressure, and that damages your kidney. That's why if you have hypertension, it damages your kidney. Now, why do you have hypertension? Mainly because of metabolic processes. So since the PPAR tablets and protocols regulate your metabolic processes to become normal, it actually takes all these pressures that cause your chronic kidney disease. Remember, it's chronic. So it's not like sudden one day high blood pressure. It's your high blood pressure is long for many years. So it has slowly damaged your kidney. But by taking PPAR protocols, you actually, and for that, probably if you're just on a preventive, the tablets is enough, okay? But if you really develop CKD, I would then suggest looking at the soft gel or the PPAR powder, all right? And that would help the other chemistry, the other physiological functions that cause the CKD. Okay?
Well said, sir. Thank you so much.
That's been interesting discussion, and I really want to thank Ms. Janet for bringing up a viewpoint that I think is on the mind of everyone. So please excuse me, Ms. Janet, because I love to debate. So when I get into this topic, I become hyperlogical, and I will tackle it not necessarily just from a medical point of view. I will tackle it from a very logical. For me, is first principle logics, right? So I do appreciate that you do highlight that, you know, there are many cultures that eat only meat. However, we are not that culture. We are not Eskimos. We are Chinese, we are Malay, we are Filipinos are almost everything, but they are still largely Malay and Chinese in our DNA. So whatever applies to an Eskimo does not apply to us, right? The French can drink a lot of wine, we can't. All right. She did make a comment about asking my views on alcohol, sugar alcohols. Again, sugar is a topic that is like basically cancer patients should avoid taking artificial sugars, right? Or taking sugars, processed sugars. Among all the choices that you have highlighted, you know, the ones that I've discussed with Dr. Jansen, it's still back to date sugar. Date sugar also high in antioxidants, so that's pretty good. Agave, Dr. Jansen is actually pretty comfortable with agave. Now, yeah, all the rest, they are largely in the same category, right? If you don't take a lot of it, it's not going to make a huge difference, right? But if you do have the choice, then take agave or date sugar. There you go, right? And it's not going to kill you if you take stevia versus Of course, we avoid all the artificial sweeteners.
Thank you, sir. With that said,
And alcohol. Cancer patients should not drink alcohol, okay? But I'm gonna tell you there are many Chinese medicines that are alcohol based. The reason is because prior to modern day technology, the way to extract things from plants or animals, for example, you want the essence of a lizard, or a snake, okay, you soak it in alcohol because alcohol extracts the essence or whatever components you want from your item. So there are things like Gayobano wine, because Gayobano is supposedly good for cancer, right? Now, how do you extract the goodness of Gayobano? Because you can't eat 10 Gayobanos every day, right? So you use alcohol to extract it. So then does this make Gayobano wine good or bad? Here is it shouldn't be this question. Guys, right? Someone asked me, is this wine good or bad? Is stevia good or bad? Here's my answer to you, right? Why must it be yes or no? I'll give you a third answer, right? Choose date sugar. Then you don't even have to care whether stevia is good or bad, right? You don't really have to care. Instead of taking anything and a medicinal alcohol, why don't you just take PPARS? Because PPARS is good for you and has no alcohol in it. There you go. You don't have to answer that question. It's like a false logical dilemma. There's no dilemma over there. There's a better choice. There's a better choice. Right? So you don't have to say yes or no to one particular thing. There's a better choice. And last but not least, I guess you're going to ask me for my final words, right, Sheila?
Actually, yes, sir. Just to let you know, of course, our viewers are combination, our mixture of prevention, newly diagnosed, on the journey, and of course, those preventing recurrence as well. What can you tell them? Or short parting words for them.
Okay, here it is. When you take supplements, we often take it for the vitamins and minerals. For example, you take a supplement for calcium. You take a supplement for vitamins. You take a supplement because you want vitamin C, because you believe that vitamin C is good for your immune system. Vitamin D as well, vitamin E as well, right? We also take so basically we take supplements for their components, vitamin and minerals. There's another way to choose your supplements. You take supplements for the effect. Okay? I give you a good example. We all believe Gayobano helps in fighting cancer. We all know turmeric is good for cancer patients. Notice it's not something in turmeric that is good for cancer patients. It is turmeric, because we don't know what that something is. You get what I'm saying, everybody? We don't know what specifically in Gayobano and how it works in Gayobano that is good for cancer. You might think that it's one thing in Gayobano, but it's probably not. It's that one thing that they've highlighted working with many other things in Gayobano to give you that effect. So here it is, right? Try to pick foods that have a certain effect that you want. So this is where I will share why PPARS is effective, okay? Because PPAR tablets does a few things. It lowers or modulates your inflammation. If you lower inflammation, so it's not about antioxidants. Okay, antioxidants is part of the process of lowering inflammation, but it's not the only process. So PPARS has been proven to modulate your inflammation. So that's good for cancer. It's proven to stimulate your immune system, specifically clinically proven, scientifically proven. We understand the mechanism of action. Increases your macrophage cells, your dendritic cells, and your NK cell activity. So that's what you want. You want the effect. You don't just want vitamin D or C. You want a specific effect. So modulate inflammation, stimulate your immune system, help your metabolic processes, right? This is very important because when you're fighting cancer, your metabolic processes can mess you up. For example, if you have high blood cholesterol, high blood sugar, it's going to make your cancer journey even worse. All right? It's not going to help you. Last but not least, PPARS agonists actually helps with cell delineation. Now, this is a big word. To put it simply, it helps your cells to grow and mature correctly. Why is this important? It's important for your bone marrow cells, your blood cells, blood stem cells to develop into red blood cells and white blood cells, and a whole host of blood cells that make up your white blood cell count. That directly impacts your immune system. All right. So this is why taking PPARS is not about how much vitamin C is in PPAR tablets. It's not about how much vitamin D is in PPAR tablets. It's not about how much calcium is in PPAR tablets. You're taking PPAR tablets and extracts for the effect on inflammation, effect on modulating your immune response, effect on your cell delineation, and lastly, the effect on your metabolic processes. All these are key factors in you successfully supporting your fight for cancer nutritionally. Okay? I hope that helps everybody.
Well,
thank you very much. I want to give a special shout out to Ms. Janet. I really thank you for your your questions, and I hope that my point of view also gives you some food for thought. Your point of view definitely also gave me some food for thought, and I appreciate the questions. And I think the rest of the viewers probably learned a lot because of those questions you asked. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Well, that's the reason why we missed Sir Shyan last week, as he was on his trip. But tonight, of course, we also missed Doc Jansen. But don't worry, because next week they'll be both present to answer our questions once again. Thank you, Sir Shyan, for answering our questions tonight. Okay. All right. At this point, I also want to extend our gratitude to all, not only to Ms. Janet, but to all of you who threw your questions on the comment section. For those of you who weren't able to answer your questions, we will get in touch with you individually. All right. Now, at this point, I'd like to invite everybody for our upcoming next webinar this coming April 25. That's another Thursday, also 7:30. The webinar is entitled Lung and Tongue Cancer Healed Naturally. Now, this is very interesting because the discussion will be led by two experts once again, of course, by Mr. Shyan Lim and Dr. Jhen. Yes, that is going to be next week, once again, 7:30 in the evening. Okay. All right. Also, I just want to let everybody know to watch out for our announcement for the upcoming SMX face-to-face seminar or health seminar this coming July 27. Please watch out for our announcements here on our Facebook page. Okay. Now, we really hope to see you once again in our next webinars to come, because your victory in your cancer journey is what keeps us going. So we hope to see you once again, because here in Simply Nature, we are always with you from start to healing. Thank you, everybody. Good night, and God bless you all. Bye. Welcome to the innovative modalities in cancer treatment.
The 5.9 centimeter mass was gone. I was actually, at this point, I was surprised myself. How can it happen in just a span of 1.5 months? So I asked them, what did your uncle say about this mass? Their uncle said that, yeah, indeed, the tumor was gone. It's just a cavity. It's non-enhancing.
Now you know, cancer eats what? Cholesterol, right? Simply Nature people can lower what? Cholesterol. Now you understand why you're taking the tablets? Make sense? Yeah, so more powerful than I tell you this miracle product. Just buy, eat, cure. No, we shouldn't do that, right? Because cancer is not a stationary disease. It keeps changing. So it's best that you understand what's happening, right?
Especially if we are talking about solid tumors. The number one modality of treatment is surgery. Then to prevent recurrence, then we do the other adjuvant treatments like chemotherapy, immunotherapy, or targeted therapy, and also radiotherapy.
I have learned the innovative modalities that can be offered to my mom. Tapos on how to take care of ourselves also. Siguro si mom pwedeng sa powder, ako po pwede sa PPARS Plus naman.
Yes, I will invite friends and family members na umattend sa ganitong klase ng ano. Kasi masaya ako eh. Para bang ano, kasi masaya yung outcome, yung staff, helpful, friendly, plus yung panelist responsive sila sa mga tanong, tapos very honest sila sa mga questions, sa mga pagsagot sa mga questions. Basta, nasasayahan ako. Ganun.
We're always with you from start to